Hello Taurus, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for August for the Sun or the Ascendant. As ever, I'm going to give you the key strands to look out for. Please stay with me because I then will dive deep to give you in much greater detail all the key influences particularly appropriate for your sign. Now I need to tell you about the square between Saturn and Uranus, because within 3 degrees that starts to be repeated this month. If this rings a bell, it's because there were 3 passes last year and they were also in a right angle at the start of 2022. Uranus in your sign is very much about independence. It can be outspoken, it can be a very restless influence. It can also be about innovation, and it's been pushing you to shake things up for some while. Now, Saturn is in the part of your horoscope to do with your connections to the wider world. So balancing your need for stability around earning and jobs with your need to be more individualistic, that's going to be quite a theme this month. But also on the other side of the heavens, the Sun and Mercury initially are in house 4, which is about nurture, it's about where you want to feel secure. And they're also very influential this month. So toggling between what you need in terms of those more emotional considerations and how you cut the mustard, the proverbial mustard, in your interactions with people in your outer world, they are hugely influenced by Uranus, but also initially Mars as this month begins. And of course Mars is also quite an outspoken influence. It's about instant gratification. It can be very motivated, and in the first house it is very much about doing what we feel is right for us as individuals. So you could find yourself a little bit conflicted this month, so I'm going to go through that with you, but also later in the month there's going to be opportunities to be much more playful and sociable. Now if you would like to ascend above Zodiac horoscopes and embrace more serious astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of your birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your life. Also, in my special package, you can get a 12-month personal forecast. Please see the link below. There's 30% off this, and no 2 charts are the same, so totally unique to you. Now, I've just gone through the 100,000 subscribers mark on YouTube. If you have subscribed in the past, I'm very grateful. If you've yet to do so, please help me get to 101,000 as quickly as possible by clicking or tapping on the bell notification symbol. But for now, please stay with me for your in-depth August forecast. So Taurus, your August journey begins with the Sun and Mercury in the sign of Leo. Now, the Sun loves being in the sign of Leo because it governs that sign. And of course, the Sun is at the center of our very existence. So anything to do with family matters, where you live, how you live there, who with, or even to do with how you feel about things is really strongly emphasized as you come into this month. But also from the 3rd through to the 12th, Mars in your sign, which has been giving you a lot of thrust recently and a lot of desire to express your individual opinion, that comes into a tense right angle with Saturn. Saturn's in retrograde now in the part of your horoscope to do with work, responsibilities, obligations, goals and ambitions. And it's probably seeing you having to roll your sleeves up. Saturn retrograde doesn't mean to say it's all going to go wrong, but it does ask us to really prioritize the part of our chart that it's influencing in a very appropriate way. So when it comes to any big hopes you have, the harder you work, the more you can make this Saturn retrograde work for you. But when Saturn and Mars, which are very opposing influences, clash like this, things can slow down. You could feel somewhat frustrated. It may not be going quite at the speed you want. And as I mentioned before, Uranus in your sign is also in a right angle with Saturn for the whole of the month. Slightly different, Uranus is potentially a lot more spontaneous even than Mars. It's very much to do with the planet of truth. It is the planet of truth, and it is also in mythology the planet of the sky. So it's asking you to be as authentic as possible, but at the same time embrace the more freedom love inside of your nature. Now, you're someone who likes a degree of stability in your life. You're someone who likes things to have continuity. And I think really, if there's part of you that wants to make a change, it's having to compete against another part of you that wants to keep things as they are. And that can create an inner conflict. And it could again be about your work. If you're in a job which is rather dull or repetitive, however well paid it is, or even however senior it is, if it's not really satisfying you, that's going to feed into your emotions this month, and that's a particularly important theme. But on the 11th, Venus, your ruler, moves into the sign of Leo. And on the 4th, I should say, that Mercury relocates into the much more outgoing 5th house for you, the sign of Virgo, which of course is your sister Earth sign. So this double change, first of all, Mercury. Mercury in the 5th house is quite bubbly. Your sense of humour is always an important part of your nature, and it can definitely be turned up with Mercury moving into Virgo. But then Venus moves into that 4th house, and that can make you want to redecorate, to buy some new soft furnishings, to make your environment as pleasing, because Venus is very much about aesthetics through its rulership of the sign of Libra. So a great opportunity to make where you live or your outdoor space as beautiful and as peaceful as possible. But Mercury could see you want to be much more active in terms of your social situation. So perhaps there's a link and you may invite some people around and play mind host. But on the 12th, there is a full moon in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is very much about the collective. It's about all of us. It's the group. But for you, it's how you have those interactive relationships, mainly around your professional situation. That could be if you're very active in your local community through a voluntary role or through perhaps as a counsellor of some kind, then that's where this energy will show itself. But that position of Uranus in your sign, that very restless and changeable influence, very electric influence of Uranus, that's actually T-squaring the position of the Sun in Leo and the full moon in the sign of Aquarius. So as I say, trying to balance your home, emotional, family situation with responsibilities, obligations, work and goals may prove a bit challenging if you are wanting to make a change and someone close to you wants to resist it, or perhaps you know you should really make a change. For example, if you're in an unsatisfactory relationship, or there's a relative that tends to get under your skin, but you're holding back from really saying how you feel. These are the kind of conundrums that could show themselves over the following 2 weeks. There can also be a pinch point between the 12th and the 17th, when the Sun in Leo goes into direct opposition with Saturn. Now, of course, because Saturn is squaring up with Uranus for the whole of this month, obviously we're seeing that energy of Uranus feeding into this situation as well. So you could feel a bit trapped around each area and not able to quite freely commit and achieve what you want. But just know from the 16th to the 20th, there's an enormously fortunate link between your ruler Venus and Jupiter, which occurs, and some kind of past effort or sacrifice or kind deed or just sheer effort, skill or experience can come back into the present and give you some kind of financial reward which can really please you. It could be that someone is going to be very generous from within your family. You may even decide to sell a property. There could be good news on the family front in general. But on the 20th, this is a really major event this month because Mars moves into the sign of Gemini, and it's going to be here through till the 25th of March next year. But for you, this is house 2. So this is very much in keeping with the Taurian energy that you have in your innate nature. So that's about liking to have the foundations of your world firm. It's liking the good things in life. It's the more sensual pleasures. And Mars likes things quickly. So this could be this next 8-month period, a time when you become really motivated to improve your financial lot. I know we're all being affected by the change in terms of the cost of raw materials, the cost of energy, the cost of travel. All these things have gone up for all of us. And that's something that you're going to be conscious of, just like everyone else. But your determination to find a new way to punch through any obstacles can be very, very strong. If you're fortunate enough to be in a relationship which is going well, it could get a lot steamier between now and next spring. So that's something to be really excited about. And then on the 23rd, the Sun's arrival in your sister Earth sign of Virgo is going to see you feel much more outgoing. It's also the case, of course, that Mercury initially is here, but it does move on the 26th into your 6th house, which is ironically quite Virgoan. It is about making sure that refinements are applied to all sorts of creative schemes in order to make them come to life. The 24th also sees Uranus in your sign go into a retrograde through till the 21st of January next year. So that need to be a free spirit, you can see, is being boxed in quite a lot this month, either by home, emotional and family constraints or more professional ones. But on the 27th, there is a beautiful new moon in Virgo, and this gives you a platform to burst into September and to really demonstrate to people how talented you are and also how much fun and how playful you can be. But it does square up with Mars, so if there's part of you that wants to be a bit more daring when it comes to investments or speculation or any kind of risk, just be aware that it's important to be able to afford to lose any chances you might take. So if you're someone who likes to live on the edge a little bit, that can be an exciting new moon. If you're someone who likes to play a bit more conservatively and safe, I wouldn't go against your core instincts. Also, your ruler Venus is challenged by Saturn in the last week of this month. I think it's possible that something that's very important to you may not quite be taken seriously enough by someone who's close to you. And it could be an older family member. It's possible that it could be a partner. It could even be a friend or someone in your extended family. But you could feel that someone's being a bit oppressive towards you at the end of this month. For example, if you forge a relationship with someone romantically and someone close to you doesn't approve of it, that could be something that's highlighted towards the end of this month. But equally, a property matter may need some support and help too. So you may want to make some decorative changes, but there may be some structural or physical or practical considerations that you need to take into account. For example, if you wanted to build an extension to create more space, you obviously have to have foundations, and perhaps you would need planning permission for it. That kind of consideration might show itself towards the end of this month. But your ability to be very precise but also passionate about what you want to achieve around your financial situation is definitely emphasised with Mercury's fine link to Mars as this month draws to a close. So you can see a very busy month for you, Taurus. Important to keep working with Uranus, because Uranus over time is asking you to get more and more in touch with what truly is your core values, your higher truth, but balance that against some more practical and physical realities or emotional ones may need you may leave you feeling a bit conflicted at times and creating a degree of tension. But later in this month, if you get an opportunity to be more social and interactive with others, a great chance to seize that opportunity.